Hello, Scott Dreyer here, DreyerCoaching with a fine student, a young lady who goes to an excellent high school in Hsinchu, Taiwan. And we're here talking about writing tonight, writing. And this young lady, Mandy, Mandy, tell us please, what about English writing do you find difficult? What are your problems with English writing, Mandy?
Oh, okay. So I think the first problem is the grammar that I use in my essay. I didn't really care about grammar. How do you say yeah. And the second one is I use Chinglish. I still think think in Mandarin and translate to English. And the third one is vocabulary that I use. Yeah.
What do you mean the vocabulary you use? Explain that for us.
Like okay, so in some reading, like some articles that I can know that meaning of the vocabulary, but I won't use that in my writing, like in my essay. Yeah.
Why is that?
Oh, actually, I don't know. Maybe um I don't know. Sorry.
That's okay. And I think I know the answer. In English,
Lack of practice.
lack of practice. There you go. Yeah, maybe lack of practice.
Yeah.
We English teachers have two phrases. One's called active vocabulary.
Yeah.
One's called passive vocabulary. Okay,
Mhm.
passive bedonga. So if you're reading a book or a passage, if you see a word and you know what it means, that's called passive vocabulary. In other words, somebody else wrote it. You can read it and you understand it, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe someone's talking, or you're watching a TV show or something. If you hear a word, you know it, that's called passive vocabulary. Because other people are creating it, you're just taking it in by listening or reading, okay?
Yeah.
Active vocabulary, says active means you're actually using it yourself. So maybe you use that word in a conversation, or you use that word in your writing.
Yes. Okay, I got it.
So for almost everybody, our passive vocabulary is bigger than our active vocabulary, even for native speakers.
Yeah.
So obviously for you, as English is a second language, that's even more the case. So there'll be a lot of words that, you might hear spoken, you might read someplace, see it on an SAT test or whatever, in a book or magazine, you know it, or you think you know it, but you, like you said, you don't feel comfortable or you don't feel confident using that word. And actually you're wise, even for native speakers. If you're not 100% sure what a word means and how to use it, don't, because you might use it the wrong way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes the mistake can be actually funny and embarrassing. And even for native speakers, as you know, in English, there are a lot of words that sound very close. They sound very close together. And so they're often, even native speakers often misuse these words. So again, if you're not entirely sure what it means and how to use it, don't.
Okay.
That's what with DreyerCoaching, we really emphasize vocabulary. Many times when we teach a new word or an idiom, we'll have the students, then we'll tell the students, okay, you create a sentence using this word or using this idiom that proves to us you know how to use it correctly.
Yeah. Okay. You got me.
Because with DreyerCoaching, we have small classes. If a class, I know in Taiwan, a lot of classes have 40, 50 people, right? Well, you can't do that in a class of 50 people. DreyerCoaching has classes. We have a lot of one-on-one classes or classes of 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. In a small class, yes, we can do that. Okay. And you mentioned Chinglish. That just takes time. It just takes time.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, so Mandy has for us tonight, I got your essay about life in Canada. And let's go ahead and look at this now together. And you had the 3 things that surprised you, because the topic was, what did you find surprising about Canada? Okay. There's a good idea. You have an outline, but realize unless the teacher asks for this, you would not give the teacher your outline. You should write it yourself. Okay. Unless they ask for it, don't include that.
Okay, sure.
Now, to get, go ahead and read this for us just for pronunciation practice, Mandy.
Okay, 3 things that surprised me in Canada. Diversity, embrace the difference, encourage, praise, strive for the culture, weather, air conditioner, dry, and snow.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to start with what's called a, an outline. Now, we jumped in down here, but you also need to have a title. And this you would include in your writing. Okay. There needs to be a title. Otherwise, the reader looks at this and think, if the reader doesn't know the title, they have no clue what you're talking about.
Okay.
Right. So I thought of, here's one possibility. Read it for us, please.
3 aspects about Canada that surprised me.
Now, is that a clear or unclear title?
I think clear.
Yeah, should be clear. And one of the main rules of writing, Mandy, is you've got to be clear.
Yeah. Okay.
You may write with big words and great grammar and complicated grammar or long sentences, but if people don't understand what you're saying, you're wasting everybody's time.
Yeah.
Right. So number 1, it must be clear. Now, here's another possible title. Read it for us, please.
Surprise, 3 aspects of Canada that shocked me.
Okay. Now, how are these two titles similar?
The meaning is the same, but the second one is more, how to say, like impressive, like surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Exactly. Yeah. So of the two titles, which one is more formal?
Formal, like the first one.
Correct. Yeah. So much about writing, Mandy, is also just getting the right tone. You know the word tone? T-O-N-E? Yeah. What's that in Chinese? T-O-N-E, tone.
调吗?
Maybe.
Is it
yeah.
me? Maybe.
I think so. Yeah. Tone.
Okay.
So clearly the first one is more formal. This one is less formal.
Yeah.
Of the two, which one do you prefer?
I think the second one.
Why?
Because like the first one is, I often use like the formal one, and I want to try the second one because I think that can maybe impress someone, like that reader want to read that article.
Correct. Yes, you want to encourage your reader to read the article. What I've been telling my students for 30 years, when you write something for a teacher in school, the teacher has to read it. Why?
Just their job.
Exactly. Good answer. It's their job. Now lazy teachers may not, but they're getting paid to do it. Okay. But once you leave school, does anybody have to read what you write?
No, they don't have a responsibility to do that. So.
Correct.
Yeah,
exactly. I write for a local newspaper. No one's getting paid to read what I have to say. It's not anybody's job. So I hope that people want to. Some people respond in different ways. Yeah. So you've got to make it attractive. We call that the hook.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Also, it's interesting. I've seen studies, Mandy. Most people, when they begin to read something, they make their decision either I like this or I don't in the first 5 to 6 seconds. So they're not going to read to the end and say, oh, that was boring. They're going to look for the first few sentences and say either, yes, I want to read more, or this is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Because think in the internet, we discussed it earlier, right? I went to Hsinchu, Taiwan in 1989. No internet. I would call my parents at home in Virginia. I'd write a letter, took a week to go, by mail. It's a different world. Okay. But nowadays with the internet, we'll have just a ton of stuff to read, correct?
Yep.
There's more stuff to read than there is time to read it. So you've got to catch people's attention. Okay. Now, so you would have a title. These are just two possibilities. Now down here, you jump right into your first point. But we need, what's missing?
Introduction paragraph.
Yes.
Or a sentence.
Yeah. Okay. Now, to be fair, I asked you to write a 3-paragraph essay. Okay. So you give me 3 paragraphs, but we don't just start with this, because even here, you don't really know what we're talking about. You have to kind of read through at the end. Oh, it must be living in Canada. So we need to have some kind of a sentence, at least a sentence that gets us started so the reader knows what's going on. Right. So talk to me. What might be a good way to begin this paragraph? I mean, this whole essay.
Oh, okay. Maybe. I think just like introduction of.
Yeah, we need an introduction, but what might be a good thing to say?
Mm,
Or do you want me to help you?
sorry.
Do you need me to help you?
Yeah.
Okay. It could be just one sentence. Again, we want to be crystal clear. You could say, so like this, maybe as a high school student from Taiwan who went to study in Canada, several things jumped out at me as surprises. Now, this was called an idiom.
Yeah.
You know idiom?
Yes.
Yeah. What does this mean to jump out at me? What does that mean?
Oh, I don't know how to explain in Mandarin, but so as a surprise.
It's like it really, you say it stands out, or it really shocked
Oh.
me, or just kind of just 让我很惊讶.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that would be one way to do it.
Mhm.
Now, is this sentence clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this telling the reader what to expect?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because the way it is now, if say the first saying which surprised me, a lot of diversity, well, it's missing a verb, but also, what do you mean? First thing, what surprised me? So what, you don't know what's going on. So at least this way, now we know. Okay.
Yeah.
Or the reader knows. Questions, comments? Any questions?
No. Sorry.
Okay. And that's okay. And keep in mind, Mandy, everything that the writer writes makes sense to the writer. It makes perfect sense in the writer's mind, right? Because the writer, you know what you want to say.
Yeah.
But just because it makes sense to you,
doesn't make sense to the reader.
It may not.
Okay.
That's why it's good to have a proofreader or an editor to look over your stuff. Okay. And that's where DreyerCoaching can help you, because you got people who are native speakers. Two of us on our team are published authors. We've taught for years. So it's good to have an editor or someone to look at your stuff. Because again, even for me as a native speaker, writing for the newspaper, it all makes perfect sense to me. Okay. But it may not make sense to the reader.
Yeah.
All right. Now, because time is short, we're going to skip through paragraph 1.
Mhm.
We're going to skip paragraph 2. I read them, they're very interesting. Tonight, we don't have time to develop all that really. But I did want to look at paragraph 3 because it's short. And it's also the, I think it's just kind of easier to deal with.
Okay.
Let's take a moment here. I'd like you, please, and what I've done so far is, if you'll notice, green is what I've added. The black is your text. Please begin here a third aspect. Read this for us out loud, Mandy.
The third aspect that surprised me is the weather in Vancouver. I still remember the first time when I got in the room of my homestay. I checked this ceiling and asked, "Do we have an air conditioner here?" And my homestay mom replied, "No, it's Canada." The weather is so different between Taiwan and Canada because Taiwan is a tropical country, so we don't have snow in the winter, and also air conditioner for us is necessary in summer. It's also the first time that I've seen snow in my life. Oh, sorry. The air is really dry there, so I was peeling for the first month. The last things is the sunrise is late and sunset is early compared to Taiwan because of the high altitude. No exaggeration to say, on some extreme days, the sky has already been dark after school finishes, which is 3 p.m. It gave me the illusion that I should go back because it's night. So the first thing I do after I get home is sleep. I will sleep until the dinner time. Last hours of receiving the sunlight also let my emotions be blue sometimes.
Okay. All righty. Good. So it's clear in the sense you're making very clear that the weather was a problem. The weather was hard for you to adjust to. Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned daylight hours, which is not really weather, but it is definitely related. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So for one thing, I changed the last thing
Mm-hmm.
to the third aspect. Here's why. Last can also mean like last in time order, correct?
Yes.
So you're mentioning here, once you walked into your homestay, when your first question was, where's the air conditioner, right?
Yes.
So in that case, I think last might mislead your readers.
Oh, really? Oh,
Well, think about it. Up here, you're talking about, cultural diversity, right?
mm-hmm.
Then you're mentioning there's a lot of like, we call it praise culture and hey, good job, you have great English, go for it. Okay. Then if you say the last thing, the reader might think that, maybe you learned this the first week, you learned this the second month, and maybe you learned this, 3 months later.
Oh, okay.
Do you see my logic?
Yeah.
So Mandy, a lot of writing, is where it gets difficult. It's not only vocabulary and grammar, it's also thinking and logic.
Yeah.
And you've lived in Canada. Do Westerners and Easterners think identically the same? No. different thinking in some ways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why rather than say the last thing, I want you to do a third.
Okay.
Son. Do you see why?
Sorry?
Do you see why I changed it from last to third?
Yeah, I know that. I know the meaning. Yeah.
Good. Now, another thing, the word thing,
Mm-hmm.
is that a strong or a weak word?
Weak word.
Very weak. There are
Oh.
several words you should never use in your writing.
Oh, really?
Well, remember, write them down. One is thing. Don't say thing, it's weak. Thing is one. Good, bad, nice, very, V-E-R-Y. These are words we use a lot in native speakers, but try to seldom or never use them in writing. I would say it's never, seldom, because they're weak words.
Okay.
That's where you have a strong vocabulary, which is also where DreyerCoaching can help you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do the word aspect.
Yes.
Like
方面. Yeah.
方面. Yeah. So what is a stronger noun, aspect or thing?
Aspect.
Clearly. Yeah. So the last thing, it's, weak noun, kind of unclear, like, the last thing could be the last in time order. But in this case, a third aspect. That surprised me. Now, you mentioned grammar. A huge part of grammar, of course, is verb tense. And also realize English has a lot of verb tenses. Verb tenses are very challenging for Chinese speakers to learn. I understand that.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I get it. When I was learning Chinese, it was all about Chinese is difficult. But when I learned the Chinese grammar, I thought, wow, the verb tenses are so easy. I love this language.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So overall, what is the verb tense you're using in this essay?
现在是
Well, wait a minute. You're a high school student. You went to Taiwan. So you're from Taiwan. You went to Canada. Now you're back in Taiwan, right?
Oh, okay. So I used the wrong one.
So it probably should be, I would think it should be past tense.
Okay.
I would use mainly past tense because it's over. Your time in Taiwan is over. You're looking back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. So I would just say here, a third aspect that surprised me, I would say this too was the weather.
Sure.
Now, granted, Canada weather is, his weather, but you're talking about when you were there and the weather was a surprise to you. Was the weather in Vancouver? Okay. This is good. You're being specific, Vancouver. Okay. Now, this is good. I still remember the time. That's going to be present because you still remember it. That's good. When I got in the room, are you saying like the first time you came in?
Yeah.
I would say there again, the word got, strong or weak verb?
Maybe weak, because
I would say weak.
Yeah.
I remember the first time, how about this? I remember the first time I entered.
I enter. Okay.
Now, entered, strong or weak verb?
Mm. A strong one.
Stronger verb.
Like,
Watch your
yeah.
verbs. Your verbs, they're action words, right? They're like the gasoline of your writing.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one, I entered the room of my homestay. Now we have here a lot of comma, question mark, comma. That's really called a run-on sentence. And let's break it up. When in doubt,
Mhm.
make your sentences shorter to be clear. I remember the first time I entered the room of my homestay. Let's just say period. Okay.
Mm.
I
Okay.
checked this. That's a good verb. I checked the ceiling and asked. We should have to set this off a comma. Asked. We have an
Oh,
air conditioner here.
so sorry. I don't know that format.
Mandy, don't you apologize. That's
Okay.
why I'm here to help you.
Okay.
That's let dryer coaching be your guide. See, my brother loves to say, nobody's born knowing this stuff. There's no baby who's born knowing that a comma sets off a quotation, right? Or something. You
Yeah.
have to learn these things. That's why we're here. Righty? Think you're a high school student in Taiwan. We're native speaker teachers in America. I've been teaching for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Okay. I checked the ceiling, actually doing very well so far, and asked, do we have an air conditioner here? I would actually break this up. We got there with the, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say then my homestay mom replied, comma, no, it's Canada. That's funny. I like that. That's great. Also, I like how you're using direct quotations. That's a very good style.
Okay.
Excellent. You use quotations, using dialogue. No, it's Canada. I love it. Okay. And the exclamation point. Very nice. Okay. Now, you mentioned vocabulary. This is actually the wrong word.
It's not a weather. Oh.
It's the wrong word to use. Here again, here's a problem that in situation many native speakers get these words confused. I teach geography. You know what geography is?
Yeah. DD.
Okay. Many native speakers confuse the word weather with another word that begins with the letter C.
See?
Do you know a word called climate?
Oh yeah. I choose climate. Sorry.
That's okay. That's right. What is
Yeah.
weather in Chinese?
天气
What is climate in Chinese?
气候.
Yes. How are weather and climate different?
The climate is like for a long time, and the weather
Yes.
is like for tomorrow, like one day.
Good job. Excellent. Yeah. The climate is so different. I don't know if we'd say between. How about the climates? I would say the climates of Taiwan and Canada. The climates of Taiwan and Canada differ greatly.
Wow.
Now you could say are very different, right? But the word are is the word are. It's a be verb. Is that a strong or a weak verb?
Week.
Weak. What does the verb to differ mean?
不同.
Yes. So is to differ a strong or a weak verb?
Strong.
Exactly. Okay. Now, this is actually a little bit Chinglish. I mean, yes, you can begin an English sentence with because. You can, but it's not commonly done.
Okay.
Now, in Chinese, it's normal, right?
Yeah.
因为台湾气候国家怎么样怎么样怎么样 okay? 热带 okay? This is a little bit Chinglish, the whole because. It's best in English, I would say, try not to begin a sentence with because.
Okay.
Let's just say simply, and also, if you have because, you would need so anyway.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Sorry.
See? Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We're here to help you. Say, you could say, for example, alrighty, Taiwan is a tropical country, so we don't have snow in winter. Now, here's the thing you need to ask your teacher. Some teachers don't mind contractions. Others would say actually informal writing. Informal writing do not use contractions. So we do not.
Oh.
In informal writing, usually do not use contractions.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So we do not have snow in, you could say in winter, we probably say in the winter.
In the winter.
I would add the word the. That's probably stylistic, but I think it sounds a bit within the winter.
Yeah.
And also, okay, now here again, you can't say air conditioner. There are two ways. You can say air conditioners.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could say air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just say air conditioners, you're referring like nigga GT, right?
Yeah.
Air conditioning just refers to the technology.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to do, you can't say also air conditioner. You can't just be a singular. Okay.
Okay.
Also, air conditioners for us
Are.
It would be R for one thing. Also, I would not all caps. All capitalized is like you're screaming at somebody. Ah!
Oh, I just want to like emphasize that.
I understand. I understand that. But for formal writing, it's not very good style.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
The idea is if you're really a good writer, then you'll be able to emphasize it without using all caps anyway. In other words, if you have to use all caps to emphasize, it means probably your writing style is weak.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. And rather than say for us are necessary, I would say also air conditioners, I would flip the order, are necessary
For
us
in summer.
in summer. I would say in the summer.
In the summer. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here again, avoid contractions.
Yeah,
But
is.
What verb tense do we need?
It was.
Yes. It was also the first time. Let's see. I'll say it was also the first time in my life to see snow.
Okay.
Now, here's another little trick. Normally, Mandy, try to put your strongest word or your surprise either at the beginning or the end of a sentence. If you say, it was the first time in my life to see snow, you're putting snow at the end, right?
Yeah.
If you say, it was my first time to see snow in my life, you're putting life at the end.
Yeah.
So what word do you want to emphasize, snow or life?
Life.
Well,
no, snow, sorry.
Snow.
Yeah.
So there were, and I also know that Chinese word order, right, is many times the total opposite of American word order. Correct? Like birthday happy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Questions so far?
Oh, no.
You're doing great. Okay. Now the air, this is good. The air, I would again make this, either the air is still Canada, I would change it to past tense because your whole thing is past tense.
Okay. Really trying.
Have it maybe the air was also.
Really
You're emphasizing the differences, right?
Yeah.
The air was also really is like very. It's a weak word. How about extremely?
Ooh, extremely. Yeah.
Extremely is a stronger word than a really or very. Now, peeling. Okay. I would call that probably the wrong word. It's like torpy.
Yeah. So it's not compelling. Cause I think I asked my homestay father.
Yeah.
And he said peeling is like it's okay. I don't know how to say it.
Well, yeah, and there are some differences between Canadian English and US English. There are some differences. Okay. Peeling. Well, I guess you could.
Okay. It's like a fruit.
It's like a fruit. That's a pretty extreme word. Now, a lot of times in America, if we use for skin peeling, we don't mention maybe somebody's been at the beach for a week and they got a really, really bad sunburn.
Oh, so
A
it's like
really
a
bad sunburn.
Okay.
And if it had a sunburn and you like literally pull off big pieces of skin at one, like big layers,
Oh.
we would call that peeling.
Okay.
That's more serious.
Oh, okay. So what should I change?
Are you just saying like your skin was flaking off, or like not quite
Yeah.
coming off?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I think for peeling, it's a little bit strong. We'd use that mainly just for like again like a sunburn or that kind of thing, or like we're peeling a banana. I would
Okay.
say, you mean the air was extremely dry, so you could say, so my skin was maybe flaking off.
Flaking off. Okay.
That's more like small little bits of skin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Questions, comments.
Now.
Okay. The last thing. Now keep in mind, thing. It's a weak word.
Okay. Aspect.
Maybe aspect. Okay, but you can be careful. You don't want to use. If we have the word aspect twice, it's okay, but I wouldn't use it more than twice in a paragraph. Okay.
Sure.
The last aspect. How about was past tense? The
Was.
amount of sunlight
Hours.
we got. Yeah. Well, you could say either amount of or hours of. Either way, you wouldn't say both. Amount of hours. I'll just say one or the other.
Okay.
The last was with the amount of sunlight we got daily. Now that has the word got. It's probably okay there. Okay.
Okay.
The sun. Okay. Here you're using sunrise and is. Now is a strong or weak verb?
Weak.
Okay. So you're using noun, a noun and a weak verb. There's actually a way you can change this.
So the sun and rise is become the verb.
What's the past tense of rise?
Rose.
Rose, like 玫瑰花, right?
Yeah.
How about this? Now we got rid of the is verb completely.
Mm-hmm.
This is a strong verb. The sun rose late, and since we already have the sun rose, let's say, and set early.
Mm.
You see?
Yeah.
So we got rid of the word is twice.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're saying the word sun once, not twice. Okay.
Yeah.
The sun rose late and set early compared to Taiwan. Oh, careful. Wrong word. Remember I mentioned earlier how a lot of words, even for American native speakers, they sound and look similar, but it's the wrong word. Altitude is gaodu, like on a mountain.
Okay.
If you go to Jade Mountain or Hehuanshan in Taiwan, that's called a high altitude.
Okay.
We need a word here called latitude.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No exaggeration to say on some extreme days, the sky would not be has. Here I'd use the word was. Even though was a weak verb, it's okay here. Yeah.
Okay.
Had turned or was dark, was already dark, I wouldn't say been. This on some extreme days, the sun was already dark. You're saying before school finished, right?
No. It's like the school finished at 3 p.m. and once I like go out of the school and I just see the sky becomes dark.
You're saying as you were leaving, the sun was going down.
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. Let's just say on some extreme days, let's say in December, because that's when the days are shortest, right?
Yeah.
The sky was already, we'd say, turning dark.
Turning dark. Okay.
Being hey, right?
Yep.
As school was finishing.
Okay.
Okay. Right at 3 o'clock. I would say PM is not necessary because we know you don't go to school at 3 a.m. Right?
Okay.
I would say that's kind of implied. Questions, comments?
So the sky was already turning dark as school was finishing. Okay. My question is, because like right at 3 o'clock is like 1 point,
Yes.
but was finishing is like is lasting for a long time.
Oh, good. That's a good observation. School, probably either one is fine. You could say as school finished or as school ended.
Okay.
You could do that. That's also correct. That's where, Mandy, the beauty of writing is so much goes to your own personal voice and personality. And also in English, by the verb tense you choose, you can also influence the meaning you want to give. So you could say as school finished. That's like point in time.
Yeah.
I'm writing here and we can change that. I'm saying as school was finishing, the idea is like you've been at school all day long.
Yeah.
And the last few minutes is probably like, after announcements, you say goodbye to your teacher, you go to your locker, get your coat, get your books, go outside. I'm kind of emphasizing school finishing is a little bit of a process.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's your essay. We can make it as school finished. That's also okay.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But do you see why I chose it to say it was finishing?
Yeah, I know that your meaning.
Good.
Yeah.
So again, that's the beauty of being a writer, is you put a lot of your own touch in it. Okay. Let's just say maybe that darkness.
Okay.
Or that early darkness, to be real clear. Gave me good word, gave me the illusion that should go to bed because it was already nighttime.
Right. Okay. Nighttime.
So the first thing I did after
I got
home. Yeah, after I got home
is to sleep.
Was to go to sleep.
Was to go to sleep. Okay.
Yeah. You could say after arriving at home, if you want to avoid the word got. The first did after arriving at home was to go to sleep. Let's go ahead and make it another sentence.
Sure.
Let's just I would often sleep until dinner time. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's a problem many native speakers have a problem with. You don't say less.
Why?
Many native speakers get this wrong. You use less with uncountable nouns. Countable nouns require the word fewer.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
Don't worry. I guarantee you. I bet at least 3/4 of American native speakers don't know the difference. Maybe more.
Really?
But it should be fewer hours.
Okay.
You can say less time, fewer hours. Let's just say fewer hours of, I wouldn't even receive it. Just say fewer hours of sunlight. Okay?
Okay.
Let my emotions be blue. Okay, here's a good idiom. It means kind of depressed.
Yeah.
Let my emotions be blue. Yes, you should put me in a blue mood. I felt kind of down, felt depressed. All those things would work. Now, we need the conclusion. This is too sudden.
Yeah. So sorry. So actually, I wrote a conclusion, and I sent it to a new email, but like really long. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet. Okay, so tell me, what did you write for your conclusion?
Okay. This was my first time to live abroad, so I definitely had some adapted periods at the beginning and a culture shock as well. But I think it's a best way to know the culture through the conflicts. So I appreciate all the things that happen to me for better or worse make me better.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is much, much better than this because this just stopped too suddenly. All right. Also, Mandy, you never want to introduce a new idea at the very end and not develop it. Because here's the thing, basically, and I experienced this. I was in Germany for a year, and like Canada, it got dark early. By
Yeah.
4 o'clock, it was dark. I had homesickness, some depression because of the weather. Okay.
Mhm.
But in this case, we're introducing a new topic and stopping. Okay. So you never want to just introduce a new topic like, oh, I got depressed a lot. The end. So, oh, what happened? Okay. So go back, please, to your ending. I got to adapted periods. Please read the rest to me.
Oh, sorry. At the beginning, did you write it down? Okay. And the culture shock as well. But I think it's the best way to know the culture through the conflicts. So I appreciate all the things that happened to me for better or worse that made me better.
Let's say run things. Let's say all the experiences
Okay.
I had that made me a better person.
Be a better person.
This is good. And I've got to run, have an appointment now. I have a class, but Mandy, this is much better. Much
Okay.
better. Mandy, what is one thing you've learned tonight?
Oh, like the strong words and the weak words, because I didn't really think about I have that problem before. And also, like I have to use fewer hours, not less hours.
Yes. Good.
Mhm.
Correct. Now you know. So those are things that we help with DreyerCoaching. We love to be your guide, and those things, the grammar, fewer and less, verb tenses,
Mhm.
active and passive vocabulary, all those things help you with. But you're doing very well. You are doing very well. You're on your way, Mandy. Well done. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well
Thank you.
done. Good job. My pleasure. All right. Well done. Good night.
Good
Bye.
night.